Welcome back. And you have spoken. 4 of you clicked the like button. I don't know if there was any dislikes because I never pay any attention to that, because that's just too negative in the world, in my opinion. Yeah, I hear you, and we'll continue, and we'll see if we can't pick up some more subscribers along the way. Just remember, it don't cost you nothing to subscribe, it's all free. And this is probably one of the most maddest things I've ever done, ever. I've done a lot of stuff. If you go on my previous channel, you'll see that I've built trikes in the past. I've had a bash at rat rods until Grumpy Drawers next door kicked off for the noise. So yes, this boat is mad, beyond mad, insane. Or am I the insane or mad? I must be as well, who knows. All I know is a young lad had it before me, and he'd got this notion. I was young once, I'd done some stupid stuff myself, and he got this notion in his head that I'm going to build a houseboat from it. Fair play to him, it's got a large amount of space in there, but he didn't have a clue. You just had to look at the way he'd laid up the plywood and the way he cut into it. He left the rubber decking layer down, you know, the grip, the rubber grip, I don't know what it's called, I can't remember, but he left that down and he glassed over the top of it. I mean, that's how much knowledge he didn't have. So I've now come along, I've picked it all up, and I've ripped that all off. I didn't want to show it. That was bad. It made me look worse because I'm taking on something that shouldn't be taken on in some of your eyes. But look, it's like this. It is very much like this. If you don't try, you don't succeed. Sea Dog is a lovely little boat, but it is too small for me. And I was seriously thinking about extending the stern in order to extend the cabin, and I wouldn't have gained much by doing that, because the engine would have been in the way still, so it wouldn't have given me any more room than I got in there now. So it was a pointless exercise. And then when I spoke to the yard owner, he said no, that one that's been abandoned. The rubbing strake was missing. Well, that would have been a rubber unit that went all the way around. The interior has been ripped out, all the doors are missing, and I don't believe that lad tore them all off. I think somebody else has had those. The roof lining is all gone, and I don't know if that was a separate fiberglass liner or what the flipping hell's going on in there. And I've got some other issues going on in there that I don't know what to do with at the moment. So, at this point in the video where you cannot hear me speak, I am explaining as best as possible that basically I have a massive hole in my roof and I'm now about to sand it all down and reconstruct it using a panel that I'm going to make at home, overlay that near as close to the edge of the cut lines as possible, and then I will sand, hence the belt sander, everything back into a scarf, and then I will slowly, bit by bit, fill that scarf area up with fiberglass and resin, and then after that we will then scab over the top. Maybe that's the wrong word to be using, but we will then place large sheets of chop strand mat and then 1 sheet of woven rovings, and then we'll glass that roof straight back on, and that will be phase 1. If you're wondering why gel coat tends to crack, well, movement in the boat is part of the issue, but it's also because they put such a heavy layer on. I mean, this is gel coat and they've built it up to make this grip, and I'm having trouble getting through that, but I've cleared as much of that line as I can for the moment. I'm nowhere near done. Where he's dug in really deep, I'm going to have to dig them out. I'm going to have to preload those with strands just to build the height up, because we do want this as smooth as possible. However, he has also left a lot of fiberglass behind, so when it comes to putting my form underneath, yeah, it's going to be difficult because I've got to slope that edge, and yeah, it's not going to be as easy as I was hoping, to be honest. One of the ideas was get rid of that, cut that all the way down to that corner maybe, and do the same on the other side, and then blend. And that's the issue, is blending it. That's going to be difficult. I have not brought anything with me that I can cover this up with, because I didn't know it was bolstable. I thought it was just a random bit of wood in there, you know. And when I finally get the other side of this sorted out, I'll sort it out. Now I'm going to have to dig all that out after, unless I can find an old plastic sheet that I can whack around this thing. I've got something at home, but it ain't no good at home. I need it here. Unfortunately, I ain't got it here, so no. Okay. Wow, that just blew a hoolie. Big old cloud coming over. Anyway, so I decided the best way I can do this, as all my wood is rubbish anyway, is lay up 5 layers, and each number is a layer. And there's 2 reasons why I put black pen on each piece of fiberglass, is because in order to make sure that you soak it out, wet it out properly, you know, you want it needs to be transparent as much as you can possibly get it. But what I've also done is I've kept it relatively thin down this end here. So this end here is the one that's going to go onto the roof, and it's going to sort of mate up against it, and then I shall fold this, because it's thin enough to fold. There's no gel coat on it, it's thin enough to fold, and I'll run some battens underneath it, and I'll run some screws through, and then I'll run a piece of tape across that joint, because both ends are thin, and I'll build that area up in the middle here until I've got it what I consider reasonably level. And then I'll do the woodwork for the bulkhead, and then I'll do the massive layup after. You might think this is a little bit on the OTT side, but I brought pretty much a quarter of my shed in order to make sure that I do have everything that I need. I have white overalls, I have face masks, I have all my sanding equipment, but the best bit is I even cut the wood. So these are going to be fillets that go inside the fiberglass. I'm hoping I got them correct. I don't know at the moment. That is going to be the wood for laminating, because we've got to try and retrieve the shape, and as you know, we've already glassed up that piece, which took forever to cure. We've also got chop strand and wovens ready to go in place, and I've cut more than I need, a lot more than I need. So yeah, I think the first job all round. God, it's hot. This is the wrong weather. I mean, I can't really win. It's either too hot or too wet at the moment. There's no in between. So I've got 2 struts in so far, one there and one there. I've got another 3 more. Luckily there is one in the middle, so that's the next one I'm going to tackle. Oh, and this ain't easy. I don't know how much battery power I've got left. Not easy, but I think I've got most of it. I have gone outside here, but that couldn't be helped. This has been very time consuming. I've got one more left to do, which is that one, and then we've got to work out how much to cut off these edges each side. because this has got a bump and this went all the way around at an angle, and we don't want that angle. Well, I do want the angle, but I'm not going to put the angle back because it's going to add more complication to this than is needed. And the doorway is going to be so awkward as well. I mean, they do a flip top that comes down, that would be nice, but I don't need it. And by going to that outer edge gives me a lot more room, so everything will work out fine. I'll do an end of day roundup. Things haven't quite gone to plan. Halfway through the day, battery died on my drill, and didn't realise that I hadn't charged the second battery up, so I had to go home. That kind of put the mocker on everything, so it was about 3 o'clock I left. Got back here again for around, what, 5 o'clock? And made a bit more progress. So everything's in place, but I don't know about any of this. I think what we're going to have to do is sand down where that join is, put some that plywood over the lip so the screws poke through, stainless steel screws, grind back the screws on this side, and then do a layup in here just to bring the two together. Bit of plywood there. We'll probably have to get a grinder and cut in so that everything butt joints together the way it's meant to, or the way I planned it to be. And then we've got to figure out what we're doing down here, because I don't know, I ain't quite. I didn't think that was going to be an issue down there, but it's being an issue down there. I've screwed some plate wood over the top to try and get the gaps closer together. Now what I need to do is to cut all the screw heads off, because obviously I don't need them in the way, and then I'm going to glass up the inside just to attach the piece of fiberglass on top to the underside, and then I will take all the wood off on the outside, leave the form in, but take all these slithers off, and then we'll start laying up all the way around. We'll start with some small pieces around all the joint areas, and then as we build that up we'll get bigger and bigger. But this weather is so hot, I'm a little worried that the moment I mix everything it's going to cure off straight away. Voila! So that is now part of the roof. So the next thing to do is to take those other screws out, countersink, put the screws back. I'm actually planning on leaving those in. They're stainless steel, so they'll be fine. And then I've got to do a complete sand over. And then I've got to put some thicker, heavier matting in the low spots just to build it up. And then after I've done that, we can start putting the big layup on. We're talking about 12 inches and working our way 13, 14, 15, 16 until we hit the end of where we need to be. Right, good morning. Apart from finding other people's keys on my boat, everything appears to be there from what I can see of. I don't think anything's been stolen. Anyway, today we've got to get rid of all the low spots on that roof. So that's what I'm about to tackle, because when I start, ooh, what happened there? Back out, you don't want to see that. Yeah, so when I start putting the bigger sheets up to get the strength, because I need to make the layers up, that will sit a lot better than what it would if I had bumps and humps everywhere, because it means I've got a lot of filling to do. I'm trying to avoid that. So I've got half a battery. I don't know how much charge that will last, so I won't be able to show you a great deal, but I will show you the end results if I can't work this all out. Right, back in a little while. I've got 2 more layups to put on. The next one is a woven, but I want to just do a little gentle sand down on here, and then after that one more mat. But the problem is I've run out of gloves, so I'm trying to utilise second-hand ones I've already used. And also the other problem I'm having, because it's so hot, that's beating me. I can't get the air out of some of this. It's a race against time, and it's that's doing better than I am at the moment. That's the only layer I've put on. There's a little layer there that's just to balance it out, really, that kind of went off quicker than the others did. So the rest are all pretty damn good. That little one there, from that point to that point, that got me. in most areas, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to sand that back because I can't lay over the top of that. That's just not going to work. And then I'll put woven on top. That one is just to thicken the surface up, and then we will put another layer of that on top, matte chop strand, and then I'm calling it a day because I can't do any more. And I don't even know if I'll get the last one on because, as I said, my gloves are running out. It's bloody rotten luck. I just finished off all my resin. I got the woven on. I saw the ominous clouds coming. I thought, it's not going to rain. Just as I put the rollers down, I felt a spit. Managed to get the cover on in time, but damned if I know that'll keep the rain out. I'm still wet up there because I put less catalyst in it, so I had a bit more time to work it, you see. What I wanted to do was get a chop strand put on as well, because there was enough resin in that to do it. Can't do it. Rain has messed me up. It's two extremes, isn't it? Sun, rain. Take your pick. So yesterday the rain caught me just before I was finishing off with this woven that I put on. And I thought to myself, I really needed, well, I felt at the time I needed to get another chop strand on here. But here's the thing, right? It's very hot. The stuff will go off super quick. And the roving, although it's done what I wanted it to do, which is to thicken and stiffen this all up, that's now raised the height above the gel coat. So now what I need to do, and this is for the next episode, I need to remove all that gel coat around that curved line, all the deck plate, grip, that all needs to go now. And I need to contemplate whether I'm going to cut those suckers off because I don't have one this side. There's a hatch to go on here. I mean, the original boat had a slope here, and the door piece flipped, and then you opened the door. I don't want that. So I've increased the interior space by doing it this way, but what I have done also is that slope acted as a bulkhead or a ridge. Do you know what I mean? It was because it went across at an angle, it added strength to each side, and I've now taken that out by not putting it back. So what I think I will do is, when I get the hatch fitted, I will put a piece of wood in all the way along to reinforce, laminate it, and reinforce what I've removed. So I'll probably line it up with these cuts here that the guy did, and overlap those, and then glass that all in. And then we should be good to go. Now, I did a temporary hold in here. This was really never anything to be special, but what I need to do inside at some point is sand all of this stuff back everywhere and literally cover everything as much as possible. So we'll see, won't we? Right, show you what I've done, because I haven't done that bit yet, have I? So it's curved all the way around now. We're fully extended out to the maximum depth. We've kept it flush instead of sloping. And the next thing to do is to cut the wood that I have at home and get it lodged onto that. But I've got to find a way of glassing it in, so I think I might tear that gel coat off and fully glass it in, and I'm going to cut on the inside edge here and across and get rid of all of that. And then when I put the wood in, I'm going to go right up and butt it right up against the side of the hull all the way around, and then later on we'll take that panel out completely and we'll glass the benches into the hull as well. And then we're going to put some polyurethane sheeting against the walls, and we're going to glass that in if I can afford to do it. Insulate the sides, add extra stiffness to the sides. I don't think there'd be enough flotation there if anything went wrong to keep this up, but you never know. I'm planning to do it as everywhere and anywhere I can. Right, now we are done. So look, thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry it took so long, but this is a big old project that I'm finding, and it's not that I ain't got the time, it's the cost. It's the cost of the products that are expensive, but it's also the cost of the fuel to keep getting up here, because it's an 8-mile journey one way, and and I don't like the journey at all. So yeah, hopefully we'll have the bike on the road next month, and we'll get this bulkhead finished off, and then we can lock this thing up, and I can leave all my basic stuff here. So the only stuff I'll be bringing with me then is my electric tools, and most of those will fit in panniers if I break them down and take them out of their boxes. So yeah. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for the likes that you gave me on the previous one. And if you do start pressing the like button, thank you again. I am thinking about having a look into Patreon as well. I need all the help I can get, as you can probably imagine.